So we are starting the session. So welcome to this presentation.
I'm
We are
very sorry for
organizing this
joining
Rail
late.
Metro Infrastructure 2021 webinar series, and we'll start with your presentation, sir. And it will be better if you can present the presentation in the PDF form. If during the presentation, if there is any question, we'll take after this presentation. And okay, sir, we'll start with your presentation. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Me, R. Arvind Priyanka Kumar.
Yes. Hi.
Sir, you can start with your presentation.
Good morning, everybody. I'm just selecting the presentation now. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. This is a a small presentation. I'll rush through some of the slides which we have. Basically, this dedicated freight corridor. I'm just presenting in this format. You know the problem with Indian Railway network is that most of these networks have been congested. We have absolute saturation also with unmet demand. So the challenges which we had is that maximum line capacity of 115 to 150% in many of the card lines, particularly the Grand Card, and which is having the maximum demand of carrying the 16% of the route carried, 52% of the passenger traffic, and 58% of the revenue and earning traffic. So we had the paradigm in this place where saturation is there, at the same time unmet demand is going on. So we started losing our freight share from 83% to 35%. Now, with this, the mission of DFCCIL has been to build a corridor with appropriate technology that enables Indian Railways to regain the market share by giving a guaranteeing efficient, reliable, safe, and cheaper options for mobility. Set up terminals of multimodal logistics parks to provide a complete transport solution. Also, to provide ecologically sustainable and encouraging users to adopt railways as the most environment friendly mode for their transport requirement. Now, with this in mind, this DFCCIL has been incorporated and it has been started sometime in 2005 as a cabinet note. And these are the various milestones culminating in 2019 December. First part of EDFC, Eastern Dedicated Freight Corridor, has been inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister, and second part of Western DFC has been inaugurated on 7th January 2021. Now, our capex utilization, if you see in the last 7 years, it has grown like anything from 2014 to 21. And in fact, in 2020-21, in spite of the pandemic, we have spent about 14,000 crores, and it is expected to be the similar level in this year also, and we will be completing our project shortly. These are the timelines which we are looking at. Already, as I said, Bhavpur to Khurja we have completed, and Rewari to Madar we have completed. Complete Palanpur will be done by March 21. We have done the trial run, and in another 10-15 days we will be commissioning that section. That will complete Rewari to Palanpur, which will open the western ports to the entire hinterlands of UP and connecting to NCR area. Our target for completion is June 22. What exactly is the game changer here? We are trying to provide a faster, higher, heavier, wider, timetabled and longer heavy haul trains. With the introduction of modern technology in construction, maintenance and train operations, we will be achieving this. We are providing connectivity to the private sidings, freight terminals, major and minor ports, coupled with ease of doing business, predictability and attractive tariffs. Thereby, we will be looking at new customer charter to provide seamless end-to-end solutions. Our entire efforts will be based on punctuality and reliability of operations. With this better reach, new market for industry, new growth centers and growth points, we are also giving favorable operating ratio, low cost of operation, ensuring also in the process road safety, low carbon footprints and use of renewable energy. Now, what operational strategy we have done is we have given a assured maintenance blocks so that there is no speed restriction at all. We have eliminated LCs to the maximum extent. the trains will run through. Thereby, we are now running some of the crew bases. Even operational halts have been eliminated by right powering and narrowing speed differentials, multi-skilling of staff. What we have done is our mission is to achieve 75 kilometers per hour speed. Our average speed in the last week has been in Eastern DFC, it's about 65 kilometers per hour. In Western, it is 40. It will also touch Western 75 by 15th of July. We have already seen the booked speed or the average speeds. See, the train is supposed to run at 100 kmph, means that is the booked speed. We have, as I have shown here, these different types of trains which are running in the system. If you see, the potential achieved for each and every type of train is almost in excess of 85%. Our average of 65 kilometers is unique, which will be giving an enormous advantage of punctuality and the reliability of our operations. What exactly are we looking at? Existing rail core traffic will move along onto DFC network from existing traffic from new industries, new goods, automobile traffic, other railable road traffic which has been going by road, and then military traffic, of course, because of our better moving dimensions. New traffic is going to be major is roll on, roll off, road railers, other special type wagons are going to be the game changers here, and of course the parcel traffic. What exactly are we looking at? The incremental traffic due to DFC is going to be about 163 million tons in 2 years from the time of commissioning. What exactly is going to be contributing to this is about 40.6 million tons is going to come from the new terminals, and 122 million tons is going to come from the existing terminals. From the existing terminals, what are the contributions is again given. Existing Indian Railway good sheds will be getting about 22 million tons. Private sidings which are connected to us and are on DFC alignment will be coming to about 87.6 million tons. Other private freight terminals, ICDs, CRTs will contribute about 13.2 million tons. Now, this is the forecast which we have. How do we get into this particular thing? How do we achieve this? We are now doing terminal development through PPP and also implementing the schemes such as development of good sheds, container rail terminals, which are all IR schemes, Indian Railway schemes will be applicable on DFC. We have been tying up with container train operators to provide end-to-end total logistics solution for transportation of parcels and perishables. We are exploring the route auction and partnerships with e-commerce giants and also giving some attractive STS model, that is station-to-station rates model and incentive schemes, and also giving some premium paths for operators. What we will be doing is block train services for small shipment cargo, RoRo services, that is roll on, roll off services, road railers, and large consignments due to ODC movement with better standard of dimensions. These are our strategies which we have come forward. What we are doing is the model shift from road to rail. For that, we are designing a strategy. What we will do is tailored service offerings which will be provided to the customers. What will be the generating incremental traffic that originates as well as terminates on DFC network itself. That will be again one more thing. The biggest thing would be to ease interaction between DFCCIL and the stakeholders and elimination of the complicated procedures. And the underlying thing on all these things is our cheaper cost of operation, because it is cheaper to operate on DFC than on Indian Railway network. Now, what we are going to go through is, and our earning potentials which we are seeing is green energy generation along the DFC routes by exploiting the right of way, advertisements, monetization of some of the assets like dark fibers. We have enormous potential for films, shootings, etc., and the consultancy, training, and utilization of our maintenance assets for Indian Railways as well as other sidings which are there. And of course, we have now in this 12 years of our construction and maintenance, we have enormous knowledge bank which is there that we can share for project management, and also we can look at some of the premium services. We are looking at all stations on DFC will be utilized as parcel stations, and we see high potential for the development of parcel, particularly the couriers and other services on this system. We have come out with business analytics unit with backed with IT tools and customer chatter specific customer centric focus. We are establishing setup at OCC, that is at Prayagraj and Ahmedabad, and also industrial centers like Kanpur, Prayagraj, and other centers of the country. Infrastructure development at notified terminals also we are taking up. We are in touch with Kandla, Mundra, and Pipavav port authorities to utilize the stock for movement of Ro-Ro traffic directly from there. We are developing a unified app for door-to-door services. The biggest thing which we are seeing is a saving of about 1 day from western ports to reach hinterland of UP. There is a study which said it is faster to move a container from US to the ports than to move from port to hinterland. So the transit time is going to be a very crucial factor in the development of the logistics. And in fact, in the ranking of the logistics index, India is ranked poorly because of the hinterland movement, which is beset with so many problems of multimodal transports. So what we are doing in this is we will be doing a double stack containers and using optimal and the synchro modality which we are following will bring in savings of at least 1 day from port to hinterland. And in each direction, if I can save 1 day, then that is a saving of 2 days, which is going to play a major role in the logistics cost. What opportunities are there for with the DFC? We are developing private freight terminals or multimodal logistics parks on the land owned by the people and connecting to them. We have already given about 14 centers. We have given through PPP through one of the open tenders. We are now seeing that the industries and related corridors are aligning towards the DFC. Like Rajasthan, they have come out with, RICO has come out with the promise that they will be establishing certain corridors and their connection to this DFC is going to be a major issue. We are also looking at new wagons, new industries coming up. Like particularly we said the Ro-Ro. It is going to be the game changer of door-to-door delivery using optimal model mix. Doing the piggyback on Indian Railway network for the trucks to come will save enormous diesel and the carbon footprint will be established. We are now looking at new freight train operators coming in. We are looking at new logistics manager, door-to-door service providers. What brownfield activities are coming? Particularly the small pallets and the wagon load movement is going to pick up. E-commerce tie-up is again, it is already there, it will be again piggybacking on that. We have training and research partnerships happening. Major thing will be maintenance works and machines will be developed suiting to the entire operations of DFCCIL. And then solar, wind and renewable energy is going to get a great fillip because the estimation is something like we can come up with a 500 megawatt renewable energy source. This is what I am talking about, the roll-on, roll-off. If you have seen on empty trucks or flat rail wagon, trucks on the flat rail wagons is already established in Konkan railway system, is happening. We want to give it a big fillip in this because when we have done this analysis, we found that the transit time is about 10 hours vis-a-vis about 24 to 36 hours for the same comparable distance. Cost effective we have given, cargo is much safe. We are targeting almost a carbon emission reduction of 28 grams versus 68 grams compared to road. Now that will reduce the diesel import bill. Overall, when we have given the advertisement, we found we have received a bid over and above our reserve price, 40% increase. So that indicates the market demand. We have also come out with our dedicated freight information system, which is going to be huge benefit to the customers, wherein it has been developed in-house. What it gives is a dedicated system of information to the customer, wherein I can give the transit assurances. As the train is entering into my system, this green one is the timetable path, timetable time of arrival at the destination, and yellow one is the dynamic one. If there is any delay, it reflects what is the delay, and then based on that delay, again, what is the time of arrival at the destination. So the customer who has got access can look at his train, and he will be getting a dynamic input of how much time, what will be the acceptance or what will be the arrival time of his consignment at his destination. Now, what we are looking at is way forward. We are open for all new ideas of improving the quality and services. We are adopting some innovative practices in contract management introduced to fast track works. A lot of new business avenues, opportunities in the nation are available, which we are going to tap. We are committed to superior, safer, environmentally better rail transport. In the process, we will be saving about 457 million tons of CO2 emission over a 30-year period. This is a very conservative estimate. And all this traffic depends on infrastructure, also development from Indian Railways also, which they are going in a very big way. So we are looking at all these things in a systematic way happening in the next 1 year, 1.5 years. And this should be able to capture the traffic from, the most ecologically sustainable and economic way onto Indian Railways, which will help the nation in reducing the logistics cost from the present 14% to about 9.5 to 10%. That is the ultimate goal, which will result in reduction of the logistics cost to the individual operator, which each and every person, if he can reduce. The example we can cite is agri produce coming to the business centers or the consumption centers. If today it is taking 1 rupee, and if I am able to reduce that cost of transport of that particular, or the logistics cost of that particular thing per unit by at least 25 to 30%, that would reduce overall the cost of the product available at the consumption point. Then there is a definite benefit which is going to be passed on to the end consumer as well as to the producer. So this is what is the ultimate aim, and this is what we are striving for. Thank you very much.
So here today my topic on which I just would like to focus, the agenda of today is stakeholder engagement. As we all are aware that nowadays community participation is one of the very important component in each and every development of any type of infrastructure project. So stakeholder engagement based decision making in city logistics. City logistics here simply means, okay, city logistic means okay, city logistic, it simply we can say it related somewhere to the urban freight itself. So urban freight is very important for the social and economic viability of the urban areas, and we know the ability of transport goods, it should be very quick. We see that there are so many problems regarding unloading and loading of trucks on the roads, as well the same issues with the railways, safely, and it should be economical, it should be reliable, it should be safe enough. In most of the cities, on average 15 to 20% of the vehicle kilometers, either four wheel or more, traveled can be attributed to commercial vehicles. Here is a urban goods transport, including transit heavy goods vehicle, accounts 18% of the vehicle kilometer, 31% of the energy used, and the carbon dioxide emissions are respectively the same as the energy we are using. The ability of transport goods quickly, safely, economical, and it should be reliable. Nowadays, we are facing the problems in the case of urban freight is noise, emissions, congestion, crashes, vibrations, energy consumption, visual intrusion. And what are the important challenges which I just want to show? We everyone know about the noise, we everyone know about the congestion, we everyone know about the crashes. But what is the main problem today? The problem somewhere relates with the governance, somewhere relates with the administration. We all have a very little research in India on this particular topic. No development in this area. If I am doing my PhD, I am not getting a data from anywhere. No policies of urban freight we have. very less policies. ये कहना गलत होगा, no policies, but then जितना policy है उतना, जितना जरूरत है उतना नहीं है. Lack of the guidelines, there is no scientific approach towards these things. It must be market driven, very less privatization. It should be more enough, and we know that it is running by private players, but need of the coordination among the private and government player is the need of the hour, which is we are not finding on the stream. Here I am working on a chicken curry freight in Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, and we are facing that there is no coordination between the private and the government players. So why we say city logistic is important? It is an integrated approach of urban goods distribution based on the systematic approach, whereas it promotes the solutions, the innovative schemes, which is not only focusing on the economical solution, also the social condition and the environmental problems. As we are facing with a very huge COVID-19 pandemic, so it is a need of the hour कि हम कोई भी any type of policy and any type of plan proposal if taken in future, we should take care of our environment accordingly. And the truck drivers, they also have some type of social life. We are facing so much problems in the persons who are working in a mal gadi, the workers who are the laborers who are working in a loading and unloading of a trucks. So city logistic is a process for totally optimizing the logistic and transport activities by private companies with the support of advanced information systems. The word is information systems. In urban areas, considering the traffic environment, we are focusing on its congestion, safety, energy saving. So these are the three main pillars: efficiency, environment, safety and security. इसके लिए ज़रूरी है कि 4 पिलर्स जो है, ये जो 4 इसके क्वाड्रेंट्स हैं, ये एक साथ होके काम करें, so that we are going to achieve that these 3 red pillars. So the activities of people, shopping, cultural support, it means the people is one of the very important stakeholder, and the location of depots, trucks, e-commerce and urban land use planning should be integrated with this. Planning alag chal raha hai, freight alag chal raha hai, it should not be like this, and urban transport planning should be integrated with the land use planning. So this should be the framework. So many stakeholders are involved in the city logistics who hold different visions, perceptions and goals. We have many stakeholders. If we take a single example of a chicken curry of a Lucknow, we have a wholesalers, we have a retailers, we have cargo operators, and city logistics affect well-defined set of subjects, and it ensures the protection of a varied view. Mutual exchange of information leads for a better knowledge, and it leads to a drastic reduction of decision times, recovery of mutual trust between subjects, to chart implementation paths that have a better chance of succeeding. Nowadays, we have seen that environment impact assessment, which has some guidelines, जिसके अंदर से community participation बहुत कम कर दिया गया. We are facing more than 17 lakh RTIs उस पर आया है, because community participation is need of the hour. So same, it should be followed in a urban freight. There should be a stakeholder engagement. When we talk about the community participation, it simply means कि लोग जो आम जनता है, public. When we talk about a stakeholder engagement, so community participation is part of the stakeholder engagement, or other stakeholders would be involving. The stakeholders can be shippers, can be residents, can be transport operators, can be administrator, producers and shippers, freight, transport and logistic operators, receivers, public authorities, residents, investors, infrastructure providers, landowners, software providers, manufacturers, very popular NGOs we have. So for achieving good thing, it is a need of the hour that we should go with some stakeholder engagement in city logistics. So it should be a decision making process, which I developed a flow chart in which we have seen here in a center you can see this is a decision making process. It is very important, कोई भी आप decision ले रहे हैं, either in a dedicated freight corridor or in a railway sector or in a road freight. It is very important when you are taking some decision, you are doing some decision. So see, there are components and elements. It is important that we should decide what should be the components and elements, and to evolve what should be the models and tools. When we are deciding components and models and tools, then we will come up with the 6 questions: 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So components and elements can be like this: C1, C2, C3. C1 are the barriers. We should think about the contextual barriers. We should think about the process barriers. We should think about the institutional barriers, legal barriers, financial barriers, management and communication barriers. We should do a proper project management, scoping, establish core team, detailed presentation like this, and the models and tools. Then we will come up with the outputs and then inputs. Outputs can be what, which, when, type of decision, alternative method, strategic, tactical, operational, and then we can come with the particular perspective, objective, and scope. So this should be a strategy. This is the need of the art, that we should come like this. So here it is in a detail that components of decision making approach must focus on these type of barriers. And these can be a stages which I developed, that identification of causes, what should be the definition of goal and objective. This is the need of the hour कि हम एक proper hierarchy maintain करें, जो कहीं ना कहीं city logistics में हमारा hierarchy जो है वो miss हो रहा है. So it is need of the hour कि हम उसके ऊपर focus करें. Policy makers और administrators का phase 1 रह सकता है. Phase 2 जिसमें हम producer, shipper और residents का लेकर के stakeholder engagement करें. Stage 3, phase 3 में we can come up with the public authorities. It can be like this: identifying, analyzing, mapping and prioritizing. Then we can prepare our engagement plan. Stakeholder को engage करने के लिए भी 3 तरह से हम बात कर सकते हैं: before engagement, during engagement, after engagement. So this is the method of involvement. Now the question arises, बोलना बहुत आसान है कि we have to do community participation, we have to do stakeholder engagement, but it should be done with some proper method of involvement. We should see कि कितना time and duration हमको किस project पे देना है, what should be the nature of participants. हम लोग various methods ले सकते हैं, like we can do interviews, we can do public opinion surveys. So this is very important. तो देयर आर सम स्टडीज जो कि वर्ल्ड में हुआ है, जो इंडिया को रेफर करना चाहिए. स्टेक होल्डर एंगेजमेंट इन हमारा ये कहा, दिस पेपर प्रेजेंट द गाइडलाइंस ऑफ यूरोपियन यूनियन का है ये. सेम विद द न्यूयॉर्क सिटी ऑफ आवर डिलीवरी प्रोजेक्ट, लेसन फ्रॉम द सिटी लॉजिस्टिक्स and engagement of stakeholders when implementing urban freight. It is an example of Europe. And we have also example of Belgium, जिसके अंदर sustainable urban logistic एक collaborative decision making का बात की गई, the paper which I referred. So इस तरह का studies इंडिया में लाने का जरूरत है. It is a need of the hour. So there are some questions of my research which I just would like to put up here also, so that it will help if someone answers. Stakeholder engagement in urban freight in India is often neglected, which results in losses, economic, social and environmental. Stakeholder engagement in city logistics is likely to result in more sustainable urban mobility environment. If we are doing stakeholder engagement, it will be likely to result more sustainable and more towards sustainable urban freight, I can say. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Priyanka ma'am and Nanduri sir, for the insightful presentation. So I would like to ask if anybody have any question regarding this. Thank you so much everyone for attending
Thank you.
the session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.